T.I. and Tiny, what's really going on?
Cause I told ya, taking it over. See, I told ya.
Hey y'all, it's Berta. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe. And if you are returning to FiercelyV, welcome back. We're so happy to have you. So if y'all been following this T.I. and Tiny story, oh my gosh, it's a lot. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but stuff was like still coming out, a whole lot of stuff was still coming out. And it was just like every single post that I saw about it, it was more stuff. Plus, like, the nature of the situation is probably really triggering for a lot of people. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna talk about it, I need to approach it in the right way. And it's just been a lot. Basically, an overview of the situation is that, we know that T.I. and Tiny, they have been, in the past, it's been reported that they do threesomes and stuff in their marriage, and that's their thing. Which, honestly, I think for celebrity couples, a lot of celebrity couples, I don't necessarily think that's even an unusual thing anymore. I think it's a much more common thing than a lot of people probably talk about, especially nowadays. There's like a segment of society that kind of glamorizes that now, but that's a whole topic for another day. I have lots of thoughts about that. But yeah, so we know that they've been known to like do threesomes, invite people into their bed, whatever. Look, they like it, I love it. However people want to design their marriage, their relationship, completely up to them. They can do what the hell they want, basically. But recently, this woman named Sabrina came out and she made some really serious allegations against T.I. Now, initially, I was really confused on the basis of her allegations because she originally came out and she accused T.I. of sexual assault. And she also accused him of holding a gun to her head. Now, initially, the story was confusing because I was like, wait, so he held a gun to your head and he assaulted you? But then the story changed and it was like when he held the gun to her head, that was actually a separate incident where she was beating up somebody that was like T.I.'s assistant because she was disrespecting Tiny. And so the girl Sabrina was beating her up, and then that's when T.I. put the gun to her head. So the story was I was confused on what the actual factuals were at first, but it seems like, the issue when a gun was put to her head, that was in regards to her fighting the assistant because she felt the assistant was disrespecting Tiny. The assault was something different.
He knows what happened. So don't sit around. What you won't do on top of everything else is you won't lie on me. Clifford Harris put a gun in my head. Truth is, I didn't have a weapon. Truth is, I didn't call the police on him. Truth is, I didn't sue him and I could have. Truth is, I never spoke about this on the many times I could have spoke about it. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I don't understand how you got these big old balls of steel because you know me. You know me. More than you know me, you know me. And I'm the smallest bit of your worries. Don't worry about me. I'm outside of the statute of limitations. I don't need nothing from you. But my truth is my truth.
And so I was like, okay, got it. And so immediately, Tiny came out. She basically said that what the girl Sabrina was saying wasn't true. She said that the girl was just, coming after their family for other reasons. She found, posts where the woman Sabrina was like shouting T.I. out, and, she was so glad that he was, being a role model to her kids who were, he was like uncle to her kids, da da da. And, Tiny was basically like, if this man was so awful and he put a gun in you and all this stuff, then why do you even have him around your kids? Why do you want him to be a role model for your kids? And this story's not adding up, whatever, whatever. Now, when that initially happened, I was like, okay, sounds a little bit like deflection to me, which is, people love to do that with victims of assault or something when they come out against the person that victimized them. People always like to point to, oh, but you were cool with them, so why would you be cool with somebody who did this to you? When, that's not a valid defense. We know that there are lots of people who, for a lot of different reasons, they still maintain a relationship with their abuser even after abuse has occurred. Like, we know this happens even on a, even when you're looking at things like women who are abused by their spouses and stuff. You might see that woman out with their spouse on date night or something looking happy after he just, abused her the day before. Like, we know that that's possible, and we know that that happens often. So to say that, you're automatically lying about somebody abusing you because you were cool with them afterwards, that's not a defense. So, when I saw Tiny respond in that way, in my mind, I was immediately like, okay, that sounds like deflection, and it's making me low-key kind of think it must be true, because if you don't have a better response than that, you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. Then T.I. came out. He gave a response, which honestly, he really made the situation worse, because he made it worse. His response was terrible, okay?
So, as y'all can probably guess or imagine, it's been extremely difficult for me to remain quiet in light of all the things that have transpired and all of the egregious allegations that's been tossed around about me and my wife. But it's a reason for that, and I don't mind sharing it. You see, if a person does not have any right to criminally or civilly have you in court, they have no right. The best thing they could do is get you for a defamation. First and foremost, I want to say my wife is a beautiful person with an amazing spirit and a kind heart. She's a devoted mother, and she has a humble soul. She don't deserve it. Now, what we're not going to do is open up the door to my bedroom, as you shouldn't have to either. Open up the door to my bedroom for everybody to come in and chime in and make their opinions about what we do and don't do or should or shouldn't do. But I will say this: whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults. If we want something, we know exactly where to go to get it. We ain't never forced nobody. We ain't never drugged nobody against their will. We ain't never held nobody against their will. We ain't never made nobody do anything. We ain't never trafficked anything. Well, sexually trafficked anything.
So his response was like, sir, you should have just hushed, because you really made it worse. So by the time I saw his response, I was like, okay, And then Sabrina ended up coming out with even more allegations. And so at this point, she posted a ton of screenshots from women who had basically been invited to T.I. and Tiny's home for threesomes and stuff. And they were just talking about things that happened to them while they were there. Some of the women were underage. Some of the women were drugged against their will. Things were done to them while they were unconscious that they don't remember. Just all kind of crazy stuff. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is even worse than we thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a lot. And so at that point, it was like, okay, it's a lot going on here. And so recently, You know, T.I. and Tiny, they have a show called The Family Hustle. Monica is on it. LaToya Luckett is on it. They actually recently came out and said that they were halting the production of the new season of that show because of everything that's going on. So I was like, oh, it's getting real. I have several thoughts on this topic. And I want to be very careful of my word choice because I never want to victim blame. I never want to insinuate that victims are lying about things or anything like that, because honestly, that's why victims don't come out. The reality of the situation is, a lot of times, you know, if you don't think people are going to believe you and you know that people are going to judge you and ridicule you, then you can decide that, you know, it's not even worth it to come out because they're not going to believe me anyway. The person's not going to receive repercussions because they don't believe me and because I don't have hard proof. So what's the point? I might as well just keep quiet, right? That's a big reason why a lot of victims don't come out. So I never want to contribute to that issue, right? I don't want to be one of the people that contributes to the reason why victims don't come out. The Sabrina lady, I don't think she's lying about what happened to her at all. I don't. But there is a lot of conversation going on about the screenshots that she posted. Now, there are a lot of people who are like, how do we know that that people even sent her these? Because it's not hard to just type something up yourself and take a screenshot of it. There's no way to prove that actual women sent her these messages. That's kind of true. There isn't any way to prove that. And as much as I hate to think that someone would fabricate something like that, I mean, you don't know, right? I have so many thoughts. One, like I said, I never ever want to jump to this, the victim is lying, because I know that coming out with something like this, coming out with allegations like this, oftentimes it hurts you more than it helps you. You receive more ridicule and backlash from it than the person who actually abused you. So, you know, the first thing I usually think when a woman comes out with allegations of this nature is, you know, just that reality that this is probably going to hurt her more than it hurts the person that abused her, you know, because the way society treats victims like this it's with so much hostility that coming out with these type of allegations, most people are not just gonna do that just for the hell of it, because the backlash you are gonna receive is like being victimized all over again. So I definitely don't want to just automatically say, well, she could be lying, because I don't want to do that. But I think it's fair to say that there is a possibility that you could fabricate screenshots. I mean, I think that's just the facts of the situation, right? But I think in this particular case, I don't think we have to rely on those screenshots. I think we have so much other information about this person who's accused of abuse. I think that we've seen so many other instances of him engaging in abusive behavior when it comes to women. And let me explain my use of the word abuse, because another thing that I've seen is a lot of people, they feel a way about using abuse when it's not physical. But all abuse is not physical. And just because it's not physical doesn't mean it is not harmful and damaging. And the level of abuse that we know about from T.I. is psychological and emotional, and it's against women every time. The psychological and emotional abuse that he wields against his daughter, taking her to the gynecologist to check her hymen and blasting her all over the internet for the world to see. And we saw how, you know, that affected her, and that's abusive. Whether you may choose not to call it that because you just don't want to use that word, that's fine, but that's what it is. We also see the psychological and emotional abuse that he wields over his wife. We've seen the way that he in the media, how he gaslights her when it comes to his cheating scandals. We seen that episode of Red Table Talk where she was expressing how she feels about his cheating and infidelity and stuff, and he just completely gaslit her, dismissed her, and shut her down. That is psychological and emotional abuse, you guys. And you, again, you can choose not to call it abuse because you just don't want to use that word, but that behavior is abusive. It's damaging. It's damaging. You don't have to physically put hands on somebody to be abusing them. And so when I look at that, when I look at these instances of T.I. engaging in this emotionally and psychologically abusive behavior, engaging in misogyny against women, regular misogyny against women, it's not hard for me to believe that he would engage in other abusive women. Do I know for a fact what he's doing in his bedroom or in his house or whatever? No. But I think that if we are using deductive reasoning, you're emotionally and psychologically abusive to women in every aspect of your life. It's not a far jump to say that you would be abusive to women in other ways. So for me, I think that is enough to make me at least say that I'm not going to automatically say, oh no, there's no way this is true. Because I've seen so many people who are like, nah, I don't believe this. I don't believe he could do this. And I'm just thinking, why don't you believe that? Why don't you believe he could do this? Like, I could see somebody saying that, we don't have, all we have is some screenshots that we don't know if they're fabricated or not. I can see somebody saying that. But to say that you just don't believe that he could do this, I just feel like that's just crazy, because I think that his behavior in the past, the actual factual behavior that we have seen from him in regards to women in his life, I think that we could definitely see him engaging in other abusive behavior towards women. And the thing about it, a lot of people have confirmed already, again, that T.I. and Tiny, they do threesomes. They invite people into their bedroom. They pay strippers to sleep with them. All this stuff. When Rob Kardashian and China were beefing, Rob was like, China, they be paying China to go sleep with them and all this stuff. So I think it's pretty much solidified that this is a fact about their marriage, which again, they can do what they want. I don't care who they pay to sleep with them. Like, they can do whatever they want in their bedroom. But I think that when you have a situation like that and you have drugs involved, you have alcohol involved, I think that we have seen enough to know that that is a recipe for abuse. And what I mean by that is, when you have a man who already operates with women in a very misogynistic way, in a very much, the power dynamic is, you answer to me, you do what I say type of thing, right? And then you have him paying someone to come in and sleep with him, and then you introduce alcohol, you introduce drugs into the mix. I think that it is very easy for that to turn into a situation of abuse. And so it is not far-fetched, is what I'm saying. It's not far-fetched. So it's very odd to me to see so many people on the internet who are saying, oh, I can't believe he would die. T.I. would never. And I'm just like, who are we talking about here? Misogynist T.I.? The fact that T.I., he likes to play activist here and there, and I think people look at that and they put him on a pedestal. So all you're seeing is a man that you respect who's an activist, and you're like, no way he could do this. And I'm like, this man is a whole misogynist and abuser. So yes, absolutely I could see him doing this. It's just wild to me to see so many people who are like, no way, not T.I. And I'm like, we must not be talking about the same person. But again, all this stuff is alleged, of course. We don't know what actually happened. Outside of the screenshots that Sabrina posted, I don't know that there have been any other actual accusations. Like, I don't know if any other women have actually came forward and said anything. I think the only thing we have right now are just the screenshots from Sabrina. The other thing about this situation that really irritates me so much and really had me triggered, to be honest, is just the response to these allegations. Now, of course, all this stuff is alleged. All the screenshots that Sabrina posted, these are all allegations. Nothing has been, proven to be factual yet. But whether it's factual or not, the responses to it are so trash. And are we ever gonna get to a point where we stop shaming victims like this? I saw there was some of the allegations were things like, I went over there to engage in a threesome with them, and when I got there, they ended up pressuring me into taking drugs, and then things happened to me while I was passed out that I don't really, fully remember. And you had people responding like, well, you knew what you was going over there for. Well, what did you go over there for? Well, you went over there for a threesome, so you knew what was going down. And I'm just sitting here like, are we ever gonna stop doing this? Like, are we ever gonna stop acting like just because you agreed to one thing that people can do anything to you? Like, that mindset is so toxic, you guys. Like, that is so toxic. At the end of the day, if somebody agrees to go to someone's house for a threesome, a foursome, an orgy, whatever, that doesn't mean that when they get there, that person can do whatever the hell they want to them. They agreed to something specific. If you agree to a threesome, that doesn't give that person the right to drug you and do stuff to you while you're unconscious if you didn't agree to that. You know what I'm saying? Those are not the same things. So if that is something that actually happened, that is not okay, y'all. Like, that is not okay. And then additionally, there's this concept of, women, not being allowed to change their minds. Like, if I say, okay, I'm gonna go home with this person that I met, and I get to his house and then I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do this. I'm allowed to change my mind. At the point that I say, nope, I don't want to do this no more, that should be end of story. But you have so many people online who are like, well, you went up there, so whatever they did to you, that's that on that. No, we have to stop with that, y'all. That is insane. There's no way that y'all can think that's okay. There is no way. But the number of people that I see online saying that, well, they shouldn't have, they did the same thing with Bill Cosby. When all the Bill Cosby allegations were going on, it was the same thing. Well, these women went to his house to do XYZ. Okay, but they didn't go to his house to get drugged and violated while they were passed out. It's very disturbing how many people truly act like women cannot change their minds. That if I agreed, an hour ago to go over here and sleep with you, that I can't change my mind 30 minutes in. Nope, 30 minutes ago you said, so this is happening. Like, what? I should be able to change my mind at any moment. I remember a while ago, Amber Rose had did an interview that was like, became a controversial clip going around the internet. And she was like, even if I'm at a dude's house in his bed butt naked, I still have, that doesn't mean that we automatically, like, I can change my mind, basically. That clip ended up going viral, and there was a lot of people who had, comments about it, but there were so many people who were like, if you're in his bed naked, then, and I'm just like, people can change their minds. Like, I can change my mind at any moment. And it's very disturbing because, and this is why I believe assault victims all the time, because when I see this mindset on the internet and I see how many people honestly are sitting here saying that, nope, if you came up here to do this, then that's what we're doing, then, well, If that's y'all's mindset, then yep, y'all are out here assaulting people. Because if a woman gets to your bed and is like, nah, I changed my mind, I don't want to do this no more, and you just gonna do it anyway, I mean, what do we call that, people? So that's why it's not far-fetched to me that this is happening to so many women, because I see y'all's mindsets online. Y'all got a mindset online that if she came upstairs, it's going down no matter whether she changed her mind, no matter whether she say, nah, I don't want to do this no more, it's going down because you shouldn't have came up here. So, I mean, this is y'all's mentality. So this is why I believe victims, because y'all are online advertising that that's how y'all think. So that's how I know that y'all are doing this to people, because y'all really think it's okay. So much so that y'all are literally saying this out loud on social media. And I'm like, y'all are doing this shit to people. It's sick. The worst part about the comments that I'm seeing along those lines is that so much of it is from women. It irritates me so much. And I just, I say this a lot, I'll say it again. There's certain behavior I expect from these men because misogyny has done a number on them. But I expect different from women because so many of us have been in situations where we changed our mind and felt uncomfortable, or we said no and we're being pressured and it felt very uncomfortable. And it's just like, we should know better. We should know better. We should know better. And at the end of the day, if women agreed to have a threesome with T.I. and Tiny and went to their house, and all of a sudden, drugs are pulled out and they're like, nah, I don't really want to do this, anything that happened after that is a problem, period. The situation is crazy. And allegedly, there's gonna be some sort of class action lawsuit with all the women. And I hope that's true. If these things really happened, then there needs to be real repercussions for it. It's too much of this that goes on, especially from powerful men like T.I., like Bill Cosby, like R. Kelly, who think that they automatically have a right to do whatever they choose to a woman because that woman agreed to engage with them in a certain way. It's such an issue, and I know it's such an issue because I see the comments. Y'all's comments on social media let me know how much of an issue this is. The fact that y'all think that just because a woman agreed to go upstairs to somebody's room, that somebody can do whatever the hell they want to her, whether she changes her mind, whether she decides, nope, you know what, I don't really want to do this no more, or whether she's like, oh no, I didn't know he was going to be doing drugs, I'm not comfortable with that. Whatever the case, y'all are like, nope, you're up here so I can do what the hell I want. And that's how I know it's a problem, because y'all are all over social media with that mindset, and it's gross. It's so gross. So this situation, it's a lot. I'm gonna be keeping my eye on it, because I'm like, look, if this stuff is real, it's just so much that goes into it. So again, allegedly, because none of this stuff is confirmed, but I could see it. So I just think the story is crazy. Patterns are real in situations like this, where we don't necessarily have a lot of actual proof. The only thing we can look at is the patterns. The only thing we can look at is the patterns of behavior. And I think the patterns of behavior from these people support the allegations. And that's just that on that. And I know T.I. is y'all's misogynist savior. He's y'all's Hotep hero. But patterns are patterns. I don't know, y'all. What y'all think? Tell me what y'all think about this story in the comments. It's a touchy situation. It's a tricky situation. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But let me know what y'all think. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't liked this video already, make sure you give it a like. Also, if you are not subscribed to the tribe, make sure you do that, because we have fun over here at FiercelyV, and you want to be a part of it. Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.